Hi everyone, welcome to another round of Young 7 Yang game reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Tales of Grace F for the PlayStation 3. This game is a remake of the Wii version which came out roughly a year ago. Now I personally have never been into the Tales series, and this game is what got me into it after I played the demo, which I was just amazed and impressed by the music and the overall style of the game. So anyway, we're going to be talking a lot about the story today. We're going to be talking a bit about gameplay elements and how the story is told as well. And I guess we're going to go a bit into the graphics, which aren't really all that, but I think you guys will enjoy the art style of the game. Anyway, sit back, enjoy the view, and let me know what you guys think, good or bad.
おい、どうしてこんなところで寝てるんだよ。どうした？
Hi everyone, welcome to the story portion of this review. We're going to be talking about the first chapter of the game just to get an idea where it takes off. So if you don't like hearing about the first chapter, you may want to skip this part because there are going to be some spoilers. Now the game starts off in the town of Lanta, or actually outside the town of Lanta on the mountain peak, where you are introduced to three characters: Huberto, the character with the blue hair, Asbel, one of the main characters with the red hair, and a mystery girl whose name I will give to you in just a few minutes. Now this mystery girl doesn't even know who she is. She just woke up, you know, and they just saw her there and said, "Who are you? I don't know. What's your name? I don't know. Where are you from? I don't know." So they end up taking her back to them. They end up taking her back to their town of Lanta, where they name her Sophie after one of Shelia's friends. And anyway, she likes the name Sophie, so everyone calls her Sophie. And there's a third character, or fourth character is introduced, and this character is very significant simply because Asbel and this particular character that's about to be introduced will have a giant role to play further down in the game. And that character is Richard. Now, please keep in mind this is a prologue to things to come. So you're seeing all these characters as kids before they're teenagers or adults, and you end up meeting Richard. And Richard's he's the son of a king, or the son of royalty from the kingdom of Bronia, and he's being betrayed by one of his guards who tries to kill him. But you guys end up knocking the guard out. But at the same time, your character Asbel tries to stop Richard, who falls off the cliff, but you all end up falling off the cliff together. And this is kind of where the bonding between Richard and Asbel begins. Now, Richard thanks Asbel for rescuing him, and he tries to give him a special ring, and Asbel won't accept it because he rescued him not because he wants something in return, such as money, which kind of surprises Richard, but simply because he did it because he felt it was the right thing to do, and they're friends. At least that's the way he feels. And so they end up making a pact later on in this portion of the game, and they all decide to become teammates and friends, and buddy, and this is where things kick off for these particular characters. Now they ask Sophie to also sign her name on the tree here, but she doesn't know how to write, so Asbel ends up having to help her write the words, going back to the fact that she's just a bit clueless. But again, just to emphasize a couple of things, Sophie will play a very big role in this game, and her role is quite surprising. At least it surprised me, even towards the end of the first chapter, and later on in the game even more. Now, basically, Richard has to go back to his hometown of Bronia, and Asbel is scolded by his father for putting Richard in danger in the first place. And so after that, Richard decides to, or Asbel and Huberto and Sophie follow Richard to his hometown of Bronia, and one thing leads to another, and they end up getting into a shitload of trouble. And basically, Sophie decides to wake up from this unknown thing she's been going through, not knowing anything, and you find out Sophie is a she's awesome. You know, she just kills the monster, literally takes out the monster that just threw Huberto and Shelia, from one end to the other. And this monster ends up knocking out Asbel as well, and all of a sudden she wakes up and she becomes very powerful. Sophie, I'm talking about, and she just takes that monster out like it's nothing. But she's injured by the monster at the same time during this particular scene, and she just says, "No, monster, you're gonna die." So anyway, Huberto, Asbel, Richard, and Sophia, they're all gravely injured, but they all survive this event. But Sophie, she dies, or at least that's what we think. And this is where the story kicks off. If you guys want to know more, you're literally going to have to play the game. But I tell you, it is very good. And I hope everyone does take the opportunity to check this game out. I realize it's Japanese only, but I'm sure at some point Namco will bring it stateside, and when they do, buy it. Don't even hesitate, just buy it. It's a good game, and I have to say the story really did surprise me. I'm usually not into Japanese RPGs such as this, but
守るのは俺だって張り切ったけど結局ダメだった。そして今も何一つできやしないんだ。俺はあの頃も今も。
Welcome to the graphics and gameplay portion of this review. This game, graphically speaking, it's nice. It's got a good artistic style, but keep in mind this is a port of a Wii game which was released roughly a year ago. And we all know that the Wii has PlayStation 2/Xbox One graphics, so it's nothing special. But it's definitely acceptable. There are a huge amount of environments where you can run through, city environments, town environments, underground environments, woodland environments, and it's a nice looking game overall. Artistic direction, it's very much an anime style game, so you got that whole Japanese RPG feeling when you're playing the game. Musically, this game wasn't that impressive for me. I'm not a big fan of Japanese RPGs when it comes to music. The only two games I was impressed by in recent memory for music from RPG wise has been Final Fantasy 13 and also another game called Lost Odyssey, which was released for the 360. Now, gameplay wise, it's pretty fun. I'm going to go a bit actually into the story and how the story is told in this game. This game is a bit like, if you guys remember the game Bayonetta, in that the story is told through a bunch of different forms. You have cutscenes, such as the one you're seeing here, where you were given your main portion of the story. Then you're going to an area where you have to press select. For example, you might be traveling, you walk in front of a tree, or you walk to a safe spot, and they'll ask you to press the select button, where you'll go into like a screen with all your characters, and you just your characters just start conversing with each other to kind of get an idea of what they're feeling at that particular moment. And this kind of helps you to get emotional attachment to the characters. And then the last way in which the story is told is through animation cutscenes, which is actually pretty nice. Now, we're going to be going a bit more into the gameplay aspect now. In this game, you travel by foot, and you can also travel from different towns, or I guess different continents, by boat. And when you do this, you're given certain cutscenes. Now, as in all RPGs, you have your little shops where you can buy stuff, upgrade your weapons, and you can sell stuff, stuff you don't need anymore. It's just pretty typical for most RPGs. Now, as you guys can see through this menu here, I'm equipping some items, and I'm getting rid of some items, and it's typical. Now, this particular part, you can look at. This is all in Japanese, and it took me a while to figure some of these parts out because my kanji isn't the best. But basically, here I'm putting my move set, the moves that I want to do during the action portion of the game. The next part is just to, basically turning on the items in which I want to focus on to upgrade for my character's attributes, going through items and food items and different things you can use throughout your missions and things that you collect. This little thing here allows you to, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it allows you to mix your items and stuff or put your stuff on quick select. Now, you have your typical equip area where you go to equip certain weapons and items. This is kind of a library. It's called Book, and you go in here and you can kind of get an idea of all the things you've collected throughout the game, even enemies that you've fought, things you've picked up, areas you've seen. This part of the game, what is this? Yeah, just character stats. It's pretty typical for an RPG. It does all of the norms. Right here is pretty cool. You can basically set the way you want your characters to help you in a battle. Defensive, offensive, help to cure you, medicate you, all that kind of stuff. Now, anyway, moving on. The battle system in this game. Now, this is not your typical, this is not the type of battle system I'm usually used to in RPGs, but since I'm new to the Tales series, I decided to give this one a chance. And this is very much an action RPG. In this game, it's very important to use your side steps and your dashes, and along with your blocks. You're given two action buttons in the game. You have the square button, which is your defense, and then you have the O and X button, which are your action buttons. Now, the X acts as your special action button for special attacks and special moves. Now, if you press, for example, the left analog with your X, you'll pull off one move. If you press the right, up, or down, you'll pull off different and various moves, but along with the X. Now, the O is your typical, the O is your normal attack. Now, to pull off some special attacks in this game, it's all about timing, and it's also, you can pull some pretty cool combinations off. Now, fights in this game don't last long, anywhere from 6 seconds up to a minute, depending on the level of the enemy. Hi everyone, welcome to the final portion of this review where I'll let you guys know whether or not you should buy it or leave it alone. And I'm gonna say it strongly depends on your preference. If you're into Japanese RPGs and you're longing to play this Tales game, this newest of the series, and you need something to hold you over until Tales of Xillia comes out, then yeah, by all means import this game, especially if you own a PlayStation 3.